Well, I'll tell you what, mate, it definitely feels like spring.
I'm quite enjoying it. The shorts are out.
You got your legs out.
Yeah.
It's because you knew you were on film, mate.
I know.
But we have been up recently, both of us, haven't we, fishing, and the fish do definitely seem to be preferring this end of the lake. You know, they were really active, weren't they, earlier in the week?
It's encouraging when you see a few signs like that, isn't it, to be honest with you?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Location is the number one.
Well, you're a bit like me as well, Alex. You normally fish for 24 hours. That's a long session for you.
It is, to be honest, yeah.
You know, we're here today at RH Fisheries Western Park, which is probably the best looking estate lake I've ever been to in my life. Alex Lister, he is the head bailiff for all RH Fisheries and quite a tidy angler himself. He's caught quite a lot of fish from this venue in recent history and in the past. A bit like myself, I was a member maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And the lake's changed quite a lot since then, so we've got a few other things to contend with, haven't we, mate?
Yeah, ultimately, is the weed, to be honest with you. I mean, I see it as a plus. It is a little bit of a hindrance at certain times, but to be honest with you, you can use it to your advantage, and you know, it's holding fish in certain areas for that little bit long. So it's just about fishing it safely and correctly, really, more than anything.
Well, we've both got different styles that we're going to sort of put into practice on this session. I know you know of a few more clear spots than I do.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to have to sort of make do and mend with some weedier spots, but it does look like the fish are cruising around on top of the weed, so I think there might be a chance just on, you know, hook baits actually presented on top of it. But you go with a totally different approach, don't you?
A little bit. I mean, I've got a black Bible, which I do offer to members for a small cost. To be honest with you, mate.
Give me a wallet out, mate.
Now, you know, I do fish. Don't get me wrong, I fish where the fish are, and I've got ways to present it in the weed, which I have caught fish on. I have I do like a few spots. I've got to admit, it's just a confidence thing. A little bit of pre-baiting, working the swim, a lot of effort pre-hand before I actually start fishing, which is key.
To make the most of those shorter sessions.
To make most of it, you know, I'm turning up after work and then I'm sort of doing a quick night and then I'm back back to work first thing in the morning. So I think, you know, time is limited, but where I have succeeded this winter especially is when I've been working the swim, and I've not seen a great deal, but I have been working a few areas, and then you know, it's just dropping on them at the right time, and you know, you will catch a few and then you sort of have a couple of blanks and then you catch a few and then conditions change and everything keeps, you know, it's
something that I'm sure people watching can, you know, they can really respond to that, you know, they can empathise with that a short amount of time.
Yeah, definitely.
But those trips in between do make a difference, don't they? But
definitely.
I think the tactics as well, you're doing yourself a disservice, because I think even without the pre-baiting and without the homework, you probably still catch a few. So we'll go through our tactics in a moment. For now, we need to find somewhere to call home for the night.
What I want to do is get a little bit of bait in now, because we've been here a couple of hours, and generally what happens is the sun sort of starts on our back and it sort of works its way around, and as it works its way around, you know, we've seen a couple of signs showing shorting earlier this morning. They haven't been there recently just yet. We've seen the odd fish top on the far bank, and generally speaking, as the sun comes round, the fish sort of follow it, and this is the area that they want to be, along this bank where the sun hits it in the evening basically. So what I've got here is basically just normal hemp, which I've cooked at home. Yeah, so in that I'm going to stick a little bit of corn with meat chunks. Now, meat is something I have used religiously in my match days when I used to be a matchman years and years ago. It's a great attraction, not overly used anymore, to be honest with you, especially in the carp scene. And I'm just going to stick, this has got a bit more meat in it, and this one's a hemp one, to be honest with you. But you can see it's all nice gooey little chunks really, and it's that oily bit that I'm looking for at the moment. That's quite a basic mix. I've got the odd bits. I've only put 1 tin of corn in. Now in that, the reason being for that is, you know, I want a bed of hemp. I've got a few bits of corn, so I don't want them to get too preoccupied on the corn. I want them to picking out the odd little fleck of yellow sweet corn, and then hopefully my hook bait imitates a corn. It's not a fake corn or anything, it's a little homemade yellow pop-up. That will be going out in a spod. What I do is when I spod, I put the hemp in, the mix in, and then I stick a little bit of ground bait on the top. So in my PVA bag are a few key ingredients. One of them is this Code Red bag mix. So all I'll do is, I don't need loads, you know, it's got lots of little pellets in. This is only purely just to plug the spod and give it a little bit more attraction. It's a 50-50 method mix basically. But I will talk about my PVA mix, my PVA bag mix later. So, you know, this predominantly at the moment is just for spodding. So what I'll do then is just add a little bit of water, little and often really, to be honest with you, just until I get the right consistency to plug all the hemp. So, and the main reason really for that is when you're spodding, obviously, and you don't put anything to plug it in, you will get spod spill. And that's fine, it's not too much of an issue, but I want the bait that I'm putting in my spod to end up on my spot, so I just plug it in to hold it in place. Yeah, so it's just a little mix really. That'll be ready in a bit, it will dry out a little bit, I'll add a bit more water, and then I shall spot it out and try and entice a bite. If I leave the spot out there, I can just use that just as a nice little baiting spot. So fit the clip nice and quite nicely there. Then all I do is basically use the throwing stick. I've got a few 12 mils which I plan on just spreading a few around. I've got a nice tight bed on a clear spot out there, and I'm just going to stick a few 12 mils and a few 18s and a few 15s just around it really, to be honest with you. I've got to admit, I do love the 12 mils. You get a nice, you can get them out at a reasonable distance and you can get a nice little spread on it really. So once I've done that, I'm just going to stick out a couple of handfuls really. Right, and back to the spotting. But you will see, when this spot actually hits the water, you can literally flick it once or twice, and before you know it, everything's out, you're retrieving it in and it's just floating on top of the water nice and easy.
Well, we were just round filming a little segment with Alex, and Alex has literally 5 minutes ago said as soon as that sun gets round on this bank we'll probably be into some fish, and he wasn't wrong, because I've just had a little single bleep, strolled back into the swim, and sure enough the rod that had the single bleep suddenly burst into life. A carp hit the surface. I mean, I'm actually fishing with a naked chod rig, so I'm sort of fishing on top of the weed. The weed here is pretty intense. Nothing too bad, you know, it's definitely fishable. We're fishing to try and catch these fish whilst they're cruising around almost on top of the weed. And this fish I've caught from just down in front of the swim, just down to my right here, which has got nobody in it, which is always a good sign, a good start, a quiet area of the lake. And I've probably put 50 code red boilies around the hook bait, and yeah, sure enough, a couple of hours later I've got a bite, and it looks like at the moment he's found a pretty intense weed bed. You see all the fizzing coming up on the surface there. That will be the fish burying his head into the weed bed, and at the moment I'm at a bit of a stalemate, so leave me with it and we shall try and extract him from the weed. A bit of gentle pressure, no panic. We've managed to get him out of that weed bed. He's now picked up my other line, which is great. So hopefully play him back either underneath or over the top of that one. It looks like he's clear of it, so well, he's going back the other way now. The thing when you're playing fishing weed to remember, and it's probably the only thing to remember, and that's to remain calm, because it's very easy to get impatient when these fish find a weed bed and all of a sudden you start pulling much harder than you need to. You're putting stress on that hook hold that it's really unnecessary. You know, at the moment it looks like I'm playing my other rod as well, which is not ideal, but like I say, keep calm and carry on, because you know, these fish, they know their environment better than we do. This one's doing a grand job of finding lots of weed beds. He's found one just in close here now as well. But just keep gentle pressure. Eventually he will find his way out, and we should hopefully get him on the bank for you to have a look at. As I mentioned before, the rig I'm using is put together using one of the Avid unweighted chod bead kits, which has got everything inside it that you need to set this up. I use the unweighted version because, like I said, there's a lot of weed in here, and what I'm trying to do is get the hook bait to sink down really slowly and just settle on top of the weed, just like a free bait. So like I said before, I've put some boilies out around my bait, and probably my hook bait is the lightest of all the bunch, so when the fish does pick it up, it catches him by surprise. It looks like we've got a nice scaly one on the end here, which is always good. Typical estate lake fish, a real beauty. He looks like he's getting nearer to the net. Here we go. Oh yeah, he's a perler. In this clear water, I can tell you now, that looks absolutely fabulous. A stunning spring RH Fisheries Weston Park carp, and when you see this bad boy, you'll be wanting to get on here yourself. You can book trips to Weston at any time throughout the year. They have a boathouse facility here that you can stay in, and you can also fish the rest of the lake whilst you're here, and you get to fish for prize specimens that look like this one. And once you've seen this one, I'm sure you will be picking up the phone. In we go. A nice result, a nice way to start the day. That's a minter. Wow, what a result. You know, it's still sort of lunchtime-ish. We've not been fishing long, and this 25.5 pounder's picked it up. It's a stunning example of the fish that reside in this lake. You can see he's nice and dark from the winter, lovely scales, got a lovely marbling on him, and yeah, he fell foul to a naked chod rig with a code red pop-up as always. He didn't know what had hit him. He hit the surface really quickly, and I just saw the rod tip bending around. I knew he was on. So after a bit of a fraught battle in the weed, we had this gem. Like I say, what a stunning example of a mirror carp. Let's slip her back and see if we can't get us a few more. Carp porn, that, isn't it? Yeah. Lovely light, isn't it?
Yeah. The fish is still black.
It's amazing in this gin clear water what colour the fish actually look. On the bank they're sort of chestnuts and got a bit of red on them, that real sort of yellow ochre, almost pale colour on the bottom. But then when you actually look at them in the water, they're purple and blue. And I think when you're looking for fish in this sort of venue, gin clear water, the fish stand out like a sore thumb over the weed, especially when they've got the winter coat on them like this fella. As you can see there, he is virtually blue. Stunning fish. He's probably lived in here for a long time. Back he goes. What a stunner. Go and tell your mates I'm waiting for him. Well, I'm still on a bit of a high from catching that fish. It really is, you know, pressure, not pressure off, because I would like to catch some more. Carp don't swim round on their own, so I don't like catching one. One's lucky, two's skill. You can see here what I've sort of been left with. I mean, there was a bit more weed than this in the net, but this is the sort of fibrous filament, you know, you can barely tear it apart. This is the type of weed that we're having to contend with here. And you get this on loads of lakes. And you know, you can chuck around with a marker float to your heart's content looking for clear spots, and you will find them, but it is time consuming. When there are carp in the area, like there were when I got to this swim earlier on, sometimes a presentation like a naked chod rig is the perfect option. You can use a long hook link and let it settle down slowly on top of the weed, but I quite like this. I'll show you how I set it up in a minute. It's really simple, and for venues like this, it is the one. Well, seeing as how I need to replace the rod, I may as well show you what I'm using and why I'm using it. You can see here I've got the beads set up directly on my main line. I'm using 18-pound trap line, which is probably the toughest line I've ever used for its diameter. I mean, it's incredible for venues like this because it sinks really fast and it's ultra strong for all this really heavy matted weed. You can see it's one of the Avid Carp chod bead kits. I'm using the unweighted version, and that comes with just normal rubber beads. We do a weighted version of this, which I'd probably use if the bottom was a little bit clearer, maybe a silty lake where I really want to pin everything down out of the way because the fish are really spooky. But as I said earlier whilst playing the fish are sort of cruising around on the surface. It's maybe 3 foot deep out here with 2 foot of weed, so I want to fish on top of that, which is why I've got this set so far up from the lead. Now, in this pack comes everything you need. Some little stoppers that the rubber beads just fit over like that, no problem at all. A little ring swivel for you to attach your hook bait to. And then down from that, I've got a chod buffer with a little 1.5 ounce lead. It's perfect for here. I'm literally flicking it probably 10 yards out. Now, one thing you might notice is at the end of my line, I've actually doubled the line up. Now, this is because when you're playing the fish, what seems to happen is this will come all the way down to the bottom because you're playing the fish, and then you're pulling here really tight against your reel line. Now, some reel lines, you know, they won't take that amount of force too many times, so having it doubled up like that just gives me a little more reassurance. It's just a figure of 8 loop knot, nothing complicated at all. Now, I can set this bead wherever I like, so if the weed was only this deep, I'd only fish it this far away from the lead. The closer to the lead, really, the more efficient the rig is working as a bolt rig. But because of the depth of the weed, I'm sort of over-egging the pudding a little bit as well, because, you know, I don't want it to go in the weed. I've set it, you know, probably a good 2.5, 3 foot away from the lead. On the hook, of course, as always, my faithful Code Red pop-ups. I've got a mixture of Code Red pop-ups and wafters in this tub, and you can tell which one's which by the colour. I use the Super Chods, which are really buoyant, absolutely perfect for this presentation. So there you have it. I'm going to get it back in the lake and see if we can get another one of them scaly beasts. Right, that's the rig all sorted out, neat and tidy, ready to plop back in. As I mentioned earlier, I'm actually walking it down to a swim just down to my right and literally underarming it out. Where I've put a lot of pre-bait, I've actually just been baiting up by hand, and basically that's where I want this to go. It's where I've picked the fish up, it's no coincidence. Let's see if we can go and nick another one. I'm trying to creep in quite quiet. In fact, I'm going to flick the Polaroids on and just make sure there's no fish there. One of the joys of this lake, and many estate lakes like it, is they are gin clear, and it's always worth, before you put a bait out on a close in spot, to have a good look and make sure that you're not going to spook fish that are already there. If there are some fish there, what I'll probably do is just throw a few baits out and just get them to meander off of their own will. That seems to spook them a little less than just throwing a lead in there. But it looks like the coast is clear. I can actually see where the weed has been disturbed. There's a bit of colour in the water there, probably from where I had the fish before. So it's looking perfect to get him back out. As I said earlier, it's literally just a little underhand flick. It's crazy here in the margins, it's so clear, but it doesn't seem like it's warm enough just yet for the fish to be creeping into the edge. So I'm just going to plop it out over this area of weed. It's probably about only a foot, maybe 2 foot of weed here, but it's perfect for a couple of baits. Ooh, famous last words about there being no fish here. There's one there now. So what I'm actually going to do is walk this rod back into my swim, but I'll just lay him on the floor because there are a few fish about. Before I put this back in, I just make sure there's none there. And it's nice and easy for me here to get some bait in because I don't even need a catapult, I can just throw it in. But I want to make sure I'm not spooking those carp that seem to be hanging around just off this corner here. And what I'm trying to do is keep all of the bait to the right of where the hook bait is. That way when the fish come in and feed, they're not coming across my line. You know, I've got my main line is sat over the weed. I really don't want them to sort of bump into it before they bump into the rig. So by keeping all of the baits one side of it and trying not to have any too short of it, it should be about spot on. And all that remains now is to walk the rod back to the peg.
Well, the sun is shining, the grub is on. What better way to spend your day? It's absolutely stunning.
I'll tell you what, Alex, I knew there was a reason I like you.
Is that it?
That's
just all the food?
Well, downwinding my peg, just getting the rod back out, and all I can smell is barbecue, and I thought, oh, I know what that is. Happy days. Happy days. Well, to be fair, it's that sort of typical midday period, isn't it, where the fish aren't really vibing it. We have seen a few cruising around on top of the weed, but not really in any numbers.
No, they're quite. They've got a purpose in the swim as well, haven't they? They're not quite going for it yet. I mean, I think the longer the day goes on, the more chance I've certainly got of a bite. I know you picked up a quick bite very quickly. I think I've just, because of the situation of my peg, where you're sort of getting round to you first, I think my ploy is just to sit there tight.
Yeah.
I put a little bit of bait out, maybe a little bit more than I normally do, because I normally just for a bite really, to be honest with you. I just feel like at some point in the next sort of 24 hours they're going to get their head down.
You mentioned earlier, and I think you're dead right, this peg here in the woods with the overhanging trees, the rhododendrons and everything, it's definitely an afternoon area.
Oh yeah.
Especially an evening area.
Yeah.
I mean, the fish that we've seen, they don't seem to be quite over so much to my left now, they seem to be right out in front of me.
Yeah.
So kind of makes sense, they're probably going to meander up here. You know, I've not invested in much bait at all really. I'm fishing a handful over each rod, and if I catch one, I catch one.
You
know, tonight I might put a bit more bait out with a stick, but at the moment I'm happy with my one fish. He was nice.
Yeah.
Be nice to get another one.
Yeah.
But do you know what would be even nicer? One of them burgers.
I've got to sort it out before they all catch on fire here. I'm in trouble. my fishing on here this year, or last year as well, the back end of last year, has all been PVA bag rigs really, to be honest with you. Presented to the far margins, snags, and it's quite a method that the hours that I fished it has resulted in quite a few fish for me. You know, if you're looking at rod per fish per hours, it's worked quite well for me, to be honest with you. So it's something I've sort of been perfecting. I've been perfecting the mix, how to tie them, making them nice and compact and tight. I mean, they're great for long distance work, short work. You know, we associate PVA bags with really big, solid, heavy bolt loads, which sort of hit the water and make quite a disturbance. Now mine, I've really sort of compacted it down really, and the main reason for that is because I'm quite a mobile angler, so I will move on to fish, showing fish. So I just want the PVA bag just to hit the water ever so quietly, and just sort of away you're fishing. And the beauty of the bag is that no matter how you cast it or anything, you're always presenting a rig absolutely spot on. Now the mix itself, like I did talk about earlier, has mainly got the Code Red in. It's also got the Sonia Bates Method mix. Now I haven't gone for big bulky items. What I've gone for is a real fine cloud, to be honest with you, and the reason for that is I'm just using it as a carrier. I want the hook bait to be the one they pick up, not all the other bits and pieces. There's a lot of scent and smell coming from there, and to achieve that, what I've done is I use a lot of krill in it to mix in with it. Now I don't just chuck the krill in dry like this because it does float. So the way I get away with that is basically I put it in a tub, mix it in with a load of glug and get it nice and wet, and then I mix it in with my whole mix basically just prior to when I'm fishing. But what I want is a small attraction with like a small amount of attraction, but which will sort of give out a really good scent really. So I've got everything ready. I have everything all in my little tub, and then basically what it's a case of doing is just really being prepared with your PVA bag fishing. Now in here, for instance, for this session, you know, I've got 7 bags there. Now I've had a few casts already, so I've got a few more bags. So there's sort of 10 perfectly ready PVA bags already. And you know, when I talk about how small they are, you know, they're perfect little neat packages. Now I'll stick one in the water a little bit later to show you, and show you how it basically presents on the bottom really. Now the rig, I try and keep quite simple. I mean, it's quite an awkward one to tie. I basically have a curve shank CRV hook, and I create a D-ring, and on top of that I've got a little Sonia Bates 24/7 pop-up. Now I like these pop-ups because what they do, they're not mega buoyant, and they just make the rig sit absolutely perfect like a claw every time. And the reason for that is I sort of started doing that when I was fishing out in France at Rainbow a few times, and you basically present the hook so it's sat like a claw just on the bottom, and it's almost like when they suck it in, it's just exposed, it's ready. So I mean, that's the hooking arrangement. The hook link material itself is the captive coated hook link. Now obviously coated, it's not, I stripped the coating off. I like the braid inside that, and I'm in, chaps. Oh.
That'd be a bite, Alex.
Well, I've just been strapped up, and that is a bite, chaps. Well, would you believe it? I have sat here very patiently waiting. Now I've got to admit I'm quite chuffed with that, because I mean that rod has been in since about 12 o'clock, just before I baited up. I've obviously watched Matt catch a beautiful fish earlier on, and now it seems it's my turn. And it's a perfect timing, because the actual PVA bag that was tying has just caught this fish. Now there is a different pop-up on it, but other than that, all the components and everything else are the same. Now I've just got to keep this fish up and high above the weed. Now normally when I play my fish, I actually bring the rod low, and I keep it low because what I don't want it really to achieve is what I've got in the situation here. I've got a fish sort of about 60 yards out up on the surface, and now I think when the fish is on the surface, I think that's generally speaking when you're more likely going to get a hook pull. But in this situation, obviously with the amount of weed that we're fishing, I've got to get it up and above it to keep its head out of the weed. Now, the first thing with my rig is I've dropped the lead, which basically means it's just me against the fish now, to be honest with you. Dropping the lead, it makes it come up in the water a little bit more. So I'm just going to steadily play it really and just keep the pressure on. It feels like a nice fish, to be honest with you. Cracking take, I mean, it was perfect timing, I must admit. But it's certainly nice to get my first bite really. And I took the advantage earlier. I went up the tree and I didn't see anything, so I just thought I'd stick a little bit of bait out while there's nothing there, and then I'd sit on it, because all day I have been saying that the longer the day goes on, I think the more chance I've got of a bite. Now, we've seen a few fish cruising in front of Matt, moving up and down, but we haven't seen a great deal in front of me yet, to be honest with you. I had a couple of liners when I first got here. Other than that, I've got nothing really to go on. So to get this, it's just sort of worked with my plan really, to be honest with you. Hopefully it ends up in the back of my net, and we've got a beautiful Western mirror on. You can see how much weed is out there. Now, that line was pretty reasonably tight, and it's collected a nice little chunk already. Now, fish itself is just kiting off to the left at the moment. Fingers crossed, you just keep seeing a load of swirls on just where it's been hitting the weed. Now, I've kept it up at the moment. My next issue, which is going to be a little bit of a nervous fight, to be honest with you, because it is really trying to hit the margin. Now, hopefully it will come out, because where the fish is now, I'm in a little bit of trouble here. About 5 yards short is an old tree in the lake bed, which is just hopefully going to miss. Otherwise I'm going to be in trouble. It looks a nice common from first glimpse, but I'm not 100% sure just yet. I'm not bullying the fish, but I'm not being light-handed really. You know, it's very weedy lake. I've got to keep the pressure on, and I think it's really trying for that snag just down the left at the moment. It certainly looks a nice fish. It is a common, it is a nice common. The other important thing that I've done is I've got absolutely nothing on my line. Now, the reason for that is it's quite a weedy lake. I've got a very, very beautiful, very large common in the net. I'm absolutely chuffed. That looks a very good fish. That looks a really good fish. Well, chaps, this is a special moment for me. Not only for the camera, which I'm absolutely chuffed about. I've been fishing Western on and off for the past 3.5 years. I've had in excess of 80 fish. Now, I haven't broke the 30 mark. This is a 30. This is an absolute beaut and an absolute beast. It's certainly one of the big girls. Now, I have been fishing Western for a while, and I have been after a big fish. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not about just catching big fish. I love catching any size fish. But to finish my chapter on Western, after having about 80 fish, I really felt like I needed one of the big girls. And at the moment, I've got it. It's an absolute colossal of a fish. I'm just going to use the weigh bar just to prise it up and weigh it. It's not just any size. I haven't got my 30. I've got a 41.5 pound common in the net right now. Could you call that, Matt, for me?
41.10.
41.10. Oh my God, chaps, that is unbelievable. Take my time. 41 pound, 10 ounce of the finest Western fish I've ever seen in my life. That is unbelievable. I've seen this fish in so many pictures, and I've stared and stared and stared at it, and that is unbelievable. Words can't describe how I kind of feel at the moment, but she is an absolute beauty. I mean, a 40 pounder is a colossal fish, and that is absolutely amazing. I'm going to take a couple of pictures and then I'm going to slip her back. where she belongs. Well, there you go. I can't describe how I'm feeling at the moment. That is just absolutely blown me away. I mean, it's a £40 common, black as your hat, right chunk of a fish, and I am unbelievably just speechless, absolutely speechless. One thing's for certain, I might have a beer tonight. You get one of me and the fish looking down like that, Matt. It's a chunk, innit? Okay. Well, there she goes. That's been a dream to catch this fish, I must admit. Nothing beats that feeling, does it? I mean, I hope it comes across in the video what I'm feeling at the moment, but that is unbelievable. And what a fish. What a moment. I'm certainly happy. Oh, well, can you believe what has just happened? That is absolutely unbelievable. I've got no idea where I got to on the rig stage. The rod just rattled off. I've just unbelievably had a 41 pound 10 common, which is just unbelievable on the exact rig that I was going to show you. Basically, there it is. That exact rig has done the exact damage. It's wiped out everything. I've got everything sorted. I'm back fishing again now, and what I want to do, the last thing I want to show you is how it sits in the lake, in the lake bed. Right, so I'm just going to show you how that exact rig has just caught me a 41 pound 10 common.
If you wanted to write the script, which you can't,
Yeah,
you would have written it a bit like that, wouldn't you?
I think so. I think he certainly would. It was one of the maddest moments ever.
Well, we were just starting to think, you know, maybe we need to rethink what we've done here, because we weren't seeing the number of fish here that we'd seen earlier in the week.
No.
There weren't really any signs anywhere else though, so it made it hard. You know, do we move? Do I gamble over a load of bait? And right as you're in the middle of doing a rig sequence in a quiet period, off she goes. And you know, I remember during the fight you mentioned, this is a nice Western mirror.
Yeah,
I'm filming thinking, I wonder, it might not be a mirror.
No.
And then when you said it was a common, then you went, oh, it's a big one. And then we saw it.
I mean, when it topped in the net, it was just, I knew it was a big fish. But I mean, like, seeing your fish earlier is a typical Western fish.
Yeah,
Like a nice, beautiful mid-20, heavily scaled, beautiful
That's
black
what you can
looking-
expect from here, isn't it? That's the sort of
definitely.
average carp in this lake.
Definitely.
That was above average,
A little bit.
next level,
Yeah.
2 steps ahead,
That was.
and you were on another planet.
I think I still am, to be honest with you.
Well, I think, to be honest with you, mate, we ought to celebrate in fine form. I haven't got any champagne because
Oh, Matt.
I'm from the West Midlands.
Oh,
But what I have got is some rather nice cider, and I reckon we should toast a peach of a fish
I
with
think you're
this,
right.
which is peach flavoured.
nice.
It's a bit, you know, nouveau.
Yeah.
But we're modern men.
I'm game.
I don't think anyone will mind.
No. Refreshing
Yeah.
after that.
Keep your comments to yourself on Twitter.
Yep.
Ian Russell.
I just happen to have a bottle opener.
Oh, perfect.
So, one for you, good sir.
Nice one.
One for me. Cheers,
On to
mate.
the next one. Well done,
Definitely,
mate. Well done. That's
definitely.
awesome.
That does taste nice, to be honest with
That
you.
is nice. Well, after the high of the afternoon, I must admit I was feeling optimistic for another one. But, you know, one of us getting another one You know, you had fish on your bait, obviously, earlier,
Yeah.
a 40-pounder. And I can't imagine he was there by himself.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
So there's a good opportunity, I think, of maybe a few more. This wind now is great, and I mean, we've
Yeah.
not had this today. Earlier on, you could see across the whole lake.
You could, yeah.
With the polarised glasses on, you could see 2/3 of the way
Yeah.
across the lake. And we're starting to get a bit despondent, like, where have all the carp gone?
Yeah.
And it appears it seems like they might have gone a little bit further over on this wind, but this might stir them up. Bit of cloud cover for the night.
That's perfect,
Yeah.
isn't it? But like you say, you're sort of, if you couldn't see it, you're sat there in anticipation anyway.
Yeah.
But it's a strange moment because you could see everything out in the
Yeah.
lake, so you sort of sat
Yeah.
there and you are generally thinking, they've moved off here a little
Yeah.
bit after a couple of early
Well,
shows.
a couple of times we did see fish, and you get all excited, but then you realise that they were never around for very long.
No.
So to pick up a couple of fish is, it's a real result.
Yeah.
But it might just be that the evening time, really early morning, because we weren't here early morning.
No,
we were
yeah,
still
yeah.
setting up.
Yeah.
That could be the window.
Yeah. Be interesting. Tonight, I think, will be a good opportunity. I'm hoping so anyway, obviously.
I wish I could swap swims.
I thought that about 12 o'clock when you
I
had
think
your fish.
tonight, yeah. I think tonight, as soon as I've had the biggest fish,
Yep.
I should have the biggest steak for dinner.
I'll let you have that one, to be fair. I thought you were going to say I should have 6 rods.
Well, if you get a bite in a minute, I am going to reel it in.
yeah. Interestingly, I have just been having a couple of liners, which
Yeah,
is quite
I
interesting.
noticed. Proper liners as well.
Yeah.
So we shall leave you with it, and the next time we see it, hopefully, one of us, if not both of us, will be cradling some more Western Park gold.